So almost 2 years ago, I got really inspired to recreate this lovely model here. Now, I just wanted to make this in Blender for 3D printing, and I thought it was going to be something pretty simple. So I went over to Blender, I used Bolt Factory, which is a free add-on that comes with Blender, and that's when I encountered big problems. It's just not created for 3D printing. It wasn't manifold, it's limited to only 50 millimeters. There is a whole bunch of problems. I could scale it, but I don't really like the idea of scaling things like that. So that was when I decided that I wanted to create an add-on to do that. And today is the day that I'm happy to say Precision Bolts, the add-on that I've created for this, well, I've got created to do this, is going to be out there for you guys. Now, big caveat, it is definitely still in development. It has plenty of problems, but I just don't have the funds to finish the development, and I'm hoping you will be able to help me and support me if you're interested in this add-on at all. Now, that's going to be over in my Gumroad. It's going to be pretty accessible price. It's not going to be crazy. By all means, feel free to give more if you want the development to continue, but I want to show you that I can now finally create the project that I wanted to create without the big hassle of all the problems that come with Bolt Factory for 3D printing, and also how we can now create threaded rods, and there is a sort of idea of doing screws as well. One of the key things though of Precision Bolts is that it's parametric, unlike Bolt Factory. So let's go and dive straight into that. To get a hold of Precision Bolts, it's linked down in the description and you'll get to this lovely little Gumroad page. Here it will tell you that it is very much still in beta. There are some big changes coming and it's only $8. If you want, you can pay 15, as that will facilitate future development of this add-on along with other precision add-ons for Blender. So with that said, go in here, put in 8 or 15, click I want this, that will give you a zip file. Now that you've downloaded Precision Bolts, it's time to get it installed. Just go over to Edit, then Preferences, then Add-ons, Install, and click the entire zip file and install that. There it is, Precision Bolts, install the add-on. Just wait a little moment and then that will be it installed. It will pop up here, just turn it on, and that is it now on. To see if it's on, press Shift A. Under Mesh, under Fasteners, there you'll have bolt, nut, screw, and threaded rod. So to start it all off, let's bring in a bolt. Press Shift A, let's go Mesh, then Fasteners, and bring in a bolt. This is the default bolt. It's currently broken though. You might see here the bottom bit. The major diameter is the bottom face, which means you wouldn't actually be able to get a nut on it. Now, I will fix this preset and default at some point soon, but it's a good one to show the example of one of the sort of tweaks and things that you got to keep in mind while working with threads. So from here, we need to edit this, but where do I edit it? Is it over here on the Add Fastener? No, it's telling you to go to the Object Data panel because this is a parametric model. This is the same as Precision Gears. You go to the Object Properties, scroll down, and here you have it, Fasteners. Brilliant. And here there's all the preset stuff and all the thread stuff and all the head stuff and all the driver stuff and a couple of extra stuff. There is a lot here. I'm not going to be able to cover it all in this video. You're going to have to play around, but trust me, once you play around, you'll start to understand. And if you don't understand, head on over to the Discord. We have a Precision Bolts channel right there. So we can really just basically, let's have a chat. Let's get this to be the best add-on it can be. And hopefully we can get the final savings that we need to finish off the development. So first, let's fix this bottom bit. What is going on here? Well, first, I'm going to press R, X, rotate it by 180, G, Z, and bring it up. Okay, so this bottom bit here, this is something that happens thanks to the chamfer length and the chamfer angle. So what is this chamfer? The chamfer is this bottom bit, how it ends. If we increase this length, you'll see that it sorts itself out and all of a sudden that is totally fine. But when this is too short of a length, well, it starts to get a little bit wrong up there. And also this angle, well, you could increase the angle, but you're going to start to break things soon. So I would say 45 is usually a good one, and then go for a chamfer length that just goes up to the point that you're past the minor. So somewhere around there, that there is now perfectly usable. This is now a thread that would fit onto the nut. Speaking of which, I want to create a nut for this. Well, we're going to just go on over here and where it says create counterpart, click this, and boom, you now have a nut that fits that thread. But this doesn't have the offsets. Keep that in mind. So you might have to go over here into the thread diameter and actually change it a little bit. So instead of it being a 6, maybe make it a 6.5. And now you know that that will fit onto that thread. Maybe 6.5 is a little bit too much, depends on your 3D printer. But hey, you might have just seen, hey, that thread, there's not major, minor, what? How does that work? Well, there's two ways of doing threads. Threads can be calculated in this manner, which is actually the industry standard. And what's brilliant of this being the industry standard, we can go over here to the standardized threads, and you'll see that there's nothing here at the moment. That's because we need to tell the preset system to create the thumbnail. So let's do exactly that. Right here, we're going to click here, and that's going to start generating thumbnails. Now, this entire preset thing is a little bit still a work in progress. Just be aware that sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you need to refresh Blender. Just this can be quite heavy to create all of these. So I'm just going to go in here, going to go to the standard heads, hit refresh, going to go into the standard full, hit generate thumbnails. So I'm just trying to create all the thumbnails that I can here of the bolts. So what I'm wanting more than anything is the standardized threads, letting that generate the thumbnails for this. It can take some time to do this. Just leave it whirling in the background or just carry on playing around. But while that is doing that, I'm going to show you the custom thread profiles. That is right. Down here, you'll see we've got the resolution, the thread start, all that lovely stuff here. I've showed you the big heads up there. Keep in mind that there's also the shank length, which is this bottom bit there. But some of you might not like these standardized threads and the way that the mathematics is set up for that. You might want custom profiles instead. Just click this and now you can do your own custom threads. So we've got the minor diameter that you can play around with here. You've got the major diameter here. You've got the crest weight. You've got the root weight, and we've also got the pitch and all the other good stuff right there. Okay, brilliant. So let's say we were happy with that, but keep in mind, look, that's going wider than the minor. So we actually have to increase this shaft length just a little bit, the chamfer length a little bit, so we know that that will actually fit in a bolt. That's a big thing to keep in mind. Let's say I wanted a bolt that was going to work with this. What is it? Just go on over, create the counterpart, and this now has the thread there. And remember, this doesn't have the size offset, so you've got to increase this in some amount for your 3D printing. Maybe it's adding 3 to this, adding 2 to it. Let's just put in this to 9 there, and then I'll change this one here. I don't know, maybe we go for 6, and there we have it. Now it's done the offset needed. The key thing that you do not want to change is the pitch, because if not, they will no longer match for basically being able to screw onto one another. Okay, that is sort of an overview of what's going on here. Let's play around with one other part. So let's rotate this by 180 and take a look up at the top here for the head. So this head, on the fasteners, you'll see that there is the driver and the head. So let's just say no driver at all. You'll see there is no driver now. You can now change the head, be it a flat head. Oops, that's a little bit much because of this here. Let's just make that nice. There we go. There's a nice flat head. This is also a little bit big on the diameter. Let's just create a flat head like so. You know what? I don't want to bevel at all, but I want this to go outwards. And that's starting to look a little bit like a screw. No, I did say there were screws and there are threaded rods as well. So let's just bring those in quickly to show you. So I'm going to shift right click to bring the 3D cursor there. Shift A, go here. Whoops, shift A, mesh, fastener. Let's bring in a threaded rod. There you have it. All the settings exactly the same here, just for a threaded rod. And then let's do the same. Shift A, mesh, fasteners, there it is, and we can bring in the screw. And I'm sorry, the screw default is really poor at the moment. Just be aware that it's quite a bit harder to find a data sheet of all the screws, plus the way that this is actually being created isn't technically right. So just be aware that there are problems here. So I'm just going to make this a little bit different. Maybe go a little bit like that. Go for a thread length here, quite a bit longer. Then let's go over to that head. I'm going to make the head flathead, and then we're going to get rid of that subdivision right there, get rid of that bevel. Let's create that offset. Let's make this a little bit higher in length, and you're starting to see what I'm creating here. There we have something like that. Let's then go over to the driver. I want this to be a cross driver. Here we go. We've got a cross driver going on. It doesn't look right, but that's because we have to increase the length here. So let's increase this length. Let's increase that length. Let's increase the depth, and why not? Let's give it a bit of a taper as well. So we'll taper it in, and there you have a nice little screw made. There we have it. And if you want, you could save this as an entire default for yourself. All you would have to do is say, hey, this whole thing, I want to save this as a preset for me. I want to save all of it. So full preset. I'm going to click save preset here. I'm going to call this test screw video. And then I'm going to click OK. Now this only saved the full thing. It didn't save the thread and all the rest. If you want to save all of that, you have to go into all of these and turn them on, because then that saves them in the respective preset folders as well. I hope that makes sense. So if I really wanted, I could save just that thread. So let's say the thread of this, I loved it. This is exactly what I wanted to save forever. I'm going to click the thread, and I'm going to click save preset here. I'm going to change the name here to thread for video. So test thread video, and click OK, save that. And now it says it's generating the thumbnails for it. I still have the problems with the thumbnail. Sometimes you need to restart Blender. Sometimes you have to keep clicking this refresh here, and eventually it'll come up. Let's see if those threads for the screws have appeared here. I don't think they have. Sorry, for the bolts, don't think they have. I think I've got to restart Blender. So let me just quickly restart Blender. And now with Blender restarted, let's see how we go along here on the threads. Doing that, come on, I know, I believe in you. I know you can do it. So it's taking its time, which means that I think it's now generating the actual thumbnail of this preset that we created before. Can take some time. So let's see how the standardized threads were doing. So the standard threads here, see, they've generated all of them. So we can click here and you'll see them all here. But this can be a little bit finicky. I want to be able to just search these. Well, to just search those, click the little search icon. You can put in the search here of all these standardized threads. There is a lot of standardized threads that do come with the add-on. So there's custom threads, standardized threads. There's a whole bunch to this. There's so much to it, but that's enough talking going through it. Let's quickly create that project that I wanted to create for so long. So with a fresh Blender file, let's get straight into this. Let's go into mesh, let's go fasteners, let's go for a bolt here. Now I want to work with this RX, let's go 180, and let's open up the object properties because I have some lengths in mind. I want this to be a custom profile. I want the length to be 80 here. Now if I zoom out, GZ, bring that up to around about there, because I also want the head. I want this to be a hex. I don't want a driver. I want the length of this to be 30. I want the diameter of this. Ooh, what am I wanting the diameter of that to be? I think I'm gonna go. Oh, wait, am I wanting 30? Oh no, wait, I'm not gonna do that, because right this minute, if I try to make a very big one, things can go a little bit weird here. Unfortunately, this is one of the caveats. When we get absolutely huge, the mesh goes weird. But what we can do is we have a lovely scaling option here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just scale this by 10. And this will fix most of my problems. So right here, let me also change this pitch. I think I'll go for something like 2.3, because then that will give me a 23. I want to make this very much my own style. I think I'm going to go for a shaft length. I don't want any shaft length. I think the minor diameter, what am I going to go with here? I think I've got some idea of it. I think a 7 and make this 8.5. Yes, I think that is sort of it. I think the pitch is off. Don't think I'm too happy with that. Or is it the actual chamfering here? Let me see the chamfer length that I'm wanting to change this to. I want to put this all the way up to 45. I'm just going to put this in so that it's looks like it would work like that. I think what I've got to change more than anything are the crests here. So let's change this to, yeah, I think 0.24 works nicely. The root, I think I'm going to go for 0.15, something like that. I'm happy with that. I think I want to increase the resolution though while I'm at it, just because I want to be able to see the final thing. So I'm going to change this up to 100. There we go. That's looking much nicer already. Let's bring that up like that. There we have a nice thread going on here. Let's see, what other things do I need to think of here? I think I want to change that bottom chamfery bit here. I want it to be quite a bit more. I think I'm going to go for a chamfer of 1.5. Yeah, there we go. Now I've got some sort of stylized effect. I'm quite happy with that. I think I'll make the nut in just a moment. What I want to do now is actually go Shift A. Let's create a cylinder. Let's make this cylinder have 100 as well. A radius of 32 and a depth, let's go for 11. And then I'm just going to take a look from the side, go into X-ray, and just bring this up. I'm just going to eyeball it, I think. We'll go for, can't do eyeball. Yes, I can. Eyeball it. I want to eyeball it, so I'm going to eyeball it. So something around there. I'm happy with that there. So now that I have that set in place here, I can click this, click here, go Control Numpad minus to keep things still parametric, and take a look from the top. This is looking like I want it to. Yeah, I think so. I think I'm going to go just a little bit smaller. I want to make sure that I'm not going to have a problem with the nut at all here. So let's go here. Let's go down over to this chamfer length. You know what? I don't think I will have a problem here. I think it'll be just fine, but let's just, maybe I'll go for a little bit smaller still. Yeah, I can tell that I'm not going to have a problem, because right here you can see there's that edge line. That is the minor, so I know it's going to be just fine. So I'm quite happy with that. I think as it stands, it's good there. So let's create the nut for this. Click here. Let's go over to the create counterpart, and it's going to create a very small nut. Now the reason why it's creating that is because it doesn't have the scale, so we've got to scale that by 10. Here it is. Now the lengthwise it's a little bit much, I think 2.5, so that's 25. And then the diameter, oh, I think I've got to change the diameter of both of these. I think I want that to be a diameter of 12, I think. Is it 12? I don't know. Let me go to this one. Let's see, what am I wanting the diameter of this to be? I think a little bit bigger than what I have it set here. Maybe I'll go for a 15. No, 15, 12.5. What looks about right? I think I'll go for 13. Yeah, that looks like it would be nice on my desk. Let's go for this one. Let's change the diameter of this to 13 as well. Then we've got the chamfer here. You know what? I don't actually want that chamfer. I just want that like that, I think. Maybe I don't. Maybe I do want to have a little bit of a chamfer on this. Just a slight little chamfer. I know I'm going to need to do 3D print supports, but I like the idea of it just being a little bit stylized like that. But we do need to add the little edits to the major and minor. So I'm just going to add a 0.5 change to that. And I also here add a 7.05. Remember, this is times 10, so that turns to a 0.5 of a millimeter offset that I'm doing here. Hope that makes sense. And that there is it. It is ready. I'm pretty sure. Let's just check. Let's do a 3D print check on all of this. So first this one here, let's give it a check. Look at that. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I'm so happy with that. This probably will need some support in it. We could actually just let's do it. Why not? GY, go over here, go into edit mode, and now inside of edit mode, this is a little thing that I actually have on my how to use Blender for 3D printing course. You can actually analyze the mesh. Did you know that? Go into mesh analysis, and now here inside of mesh analysis, it's going to point out everything that is over 45 degrees. So here it is. Okay, so yeah, so I'm definitely going to need support up to about here, but I think that angle there I'll be able to deal just fine with. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. So there we have that. There is the nut made. Let's do the same with this. Now, to do a 3D print check of this, when you select it all, press Shift D, move it out, and then we have to apply all of the modifiers. Remember, this applies under Modifier Tools add-on. Let's give this one a quick little check. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. That is now all ready for 3D printing. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go get this 3D printed, and I'll show you the end result that we made so quickly. And after getting this printed on my Ender 3S1, it's working perfectly. It's finally the pencil pot I always wish I had, and there it is. I'm so happy with this end result. Now, there is one little thing I wish I changed, which is the actual thread resolution. I'm sure you can see as it glimmers here, it's a little bit low. So I'm going to change that because this is an entire parametric model. So let's go back over into Blender. I'm going to go to the object properties right here on the thread resolution. I'll double it, and I'll do the same for the nut. You'll see that the nut breaks. That's fine. Remember, it's still in beta. I'm just going to knock down the thread resolution by 1, and it's working just fine there. And then that is now all ready to 3D print once again. Remember, I'm showing you this video because I'm out of funds to finish the development for Precision Bolt, so it's very much still in beta. If you want to see this add-on get finished, by all means, I would love your support by actually buying the add-on. You can get it for $8 over on Gumroad, or $15 if you want to support the project and other precision projects for Blender in the future. A huge thank you to my patrons. You guys are absolutely awesome, and without you, I truly would not be able to make Maker Tales or these add-ons. And if you want to get a hold of this, it's linked down in the description as well as a link to the Discord. Thank you for watching, keep making, and let the quest continue.